Plenty of drugs make headlines and capture our attention these days. We are riveted by stories of escalating meth use and the alarming opioid epidemic. Inhalants, however, don't get that kind of attention. They don't make the front page. In fact, with so many deadly drugs to worry about, inhalants may seem like child's play in comparison. But that is exactly why we should be paying attention to them. Inhalants are used by children as young as 10 years old, and are often some of the first substances that young people experiment with. They are chemicals that are sniffed or huffed in order to get high, and the effects feel like alcohol as the oxygen supply to the brain is diminished. More than 12% of 8th graders in the United States have tried inhalants, and only nicotine, marijuana, and alcohol are more widely used among that age group. Young people who suffer from abuse or neglect, live in poverty, have poor grades, or drop out of school are more likely to use inhalants. A person who uses these substances can experience euphoria, relaxation, dizziness, and even hallucinations almost immediately. However, because these effects don't last long, sometimes only minutes, a person using inhalants will need to huff over and over again to sustain their high. When under the influence of inhalants, a person's speech may be slurred. They may be angry and aggressive or not care about anything at all. These chemicals are popular because they are cheap, potent, and readily available in almost every home and community. Inhalants are also found in institutional settings such as prisons, schools, and mental health facilities. Inhalants are widely diverse, and over 1,000 different products contain volatile solvents or aerosols for those seeking an inhalant high. They range from common household chemicals to industrial solvents. A complete list of possible suspects would be too long to cover here, but common inhalants include aerosols such as vegetable sprays, deodorants, and computer cleaning products, solvents such as glues, gasoline, and lighter fluid, gases associated with butane lighters, propane tanks, and whipped cream propellants, and nitrites found in room deodorizers or leather cleaner.
People use inhalants to feel euphoria, to have hallucinations, to feel kind of elevated. However, with all inhalants, the dose of inhalant that you get is very difficult to control. And inhalants, probably more so than a lot of different drugs or substances people use, have extremely variable effects depending on the concentration. So how much inhalant you get or use depends upon how much time you spray or huff, what actually is in the solvent, how pure that is, what way in which you're using the inhalant, whether it's bagging, whether it's huffing, whether it's sniffing, and then for how long you use it, like whether this is chronic, a daily thing. All inhalants have a basic property in which they're really quick onset. So you have these reinforcing effects very quickly. Just like all drugs of abuse, inhalants act on a reward center of the brain. They cause dopamine release there, just like other drugs of abuse. So they can also cause a withdrawal syndrome, but they cause a feeling of euphoria.
How inhalants are used generally depends on the type of substance and how it is packaged. Oftentimes it involves sniffing chemicals straight from a container or huffing through an inhalant-soaked rag that is pressed over the nose and mouth. The soaked rag may even be placed inside of the mouth, and some aerosols are sprayed directly into the nose or mouth. Bagging is a method of breathing in the fumes from a plastic or paper bag. Whippets are the propellant canisters from whipped cream which are filled with nitrous oxide, also known as laughing gas or simply nitrous. This common inhalant has a relatively short-term effect on the brain, and additional doses are desired almost immediately. Oftentimes, the gas is released into a balloon and then inhaled. Nitrites, also called poppers, are unique among inhalants. They are the only substance of this category that are more often used by older adolescents or young adults. They are mostly used to enhance a sexual experience. Often this leads to a practice of unsafe sex and increases the risk of spreading HIV and hepatitis. Research indicates that inhaling nitrites harms the immune system, making it difficult to fight off infectious diseases. The use of inhalants at any age is dangerous, but it is more complicated and problematic for adolescents. The damage to the developing brain can be extreme. The chemicals that are inhaled prevent brain cells from getting enough oxygen. This can cause irreversible brain damage and result in memory loss, motor function, and even cause neurological disorders like dementia. This introductory experience of using a substance so powerful, accessible, and cheap can easily become habit-forming and open the gateway to even more profound drug use. Inhalants can also be deadly. The huffing of concentrated chemicals can lead to a sudden surge of adrenaline that may cause a person's heart to stop. This is known in the medical community as sudden sniffing death syndrome, or SSDS. People also risk suffocation from the use of inhalants, especially when using in a non-ventilated room, because the gas replaces necessary oxygen in their lungs. An overdose may trigger dangerous convulsions or seizures, and if someone is suspected of an inhalant overdose, they need immediate help. Over 25 million people in the US have used inhalants. With 750,000 people newly experimenting with inhalants every year, it is clear that any person could be a candidate for misuse, especially young people. It's hard to believe that these dangerous substances are right underneath our noses every day, yet so many people don't realize how deadly they can be.